Good morning, everyone. I'm your host, Suchi, and welcome to AI Minute Mondays. Our topic for today is innovation in learning. What exactly does this mean, and how can AI have an impact in this space? Now, today's episode is a very special one because, first of all, I'm joined by my mom, Sukanya Mohan, who's been an exceptional teacher all her life. She started teaching when she was 18 and she continues to teach even today. The second reason is that it is International Women's Day, and what better day to be joined by someone who's inspired me all my life. The third reason is it's my mom's birthday. So happy birthday and welcome to the show. And for the sake of our viewers, can you share a little bit about your teaching journey?
Thank you, Suchi, for that glowing introduction. And my teaching journey has been very, very rewarding. I enjoy teaching a lot. I have a great passion for it. I started teaching when I was 18, and I'm teaching even now. So I've taught in schools like St. Joseph's Convent, Chandanagar, Aditi International School, and I've also taught in tutoring websites. Online teaching I've done for many years. So there is no age limit for that. We can continue till whenever we want. So that's been my teaching journey, and I enjoy it so much. Many people say, "You're old now, why don't you retire?" But I do not want to retire. As long as I'm able to teach, I will teach.
So you started teaching at 18 and you're going to continue to teach even beyond your when you're turn 81. So that's what it looks like. So all the best for that. And yeah, moving on to our topic. Now, you've been an exceptional teacher. You brought in a lot of innovation in teaching methods throughout all your different teaching experiences. So can you share a little bit more about how you brought in this innovation into teaching? What are the tricks that you used, and how did it get students to learn better?
Yes, that has been my aim throughout to make learning and teaching interesting and fun, not a chore. So, before starting a lesson, I'm very thorough with the content since I've been teaching for so many years, but I always put in some time and effort to plan a lesson, how it will go, and what new method I can use to make the children learn it better. So, before the topic, I would say first thing is the connection, the first step. So, you have to connect it to something which you all already familiar with. That makes it easier for them to remember it. So, how do we do that? So, before I start the topic, I give them a question which they can think about, or an activity which they can do. So, what is that? Once I tried before teaching acids, bases, and salts, I gave the kids pieces of litmus paper and told them that was their homework, to test things at home like tea, coffee, or salt solution, or shampoos and things like that, to see, and make a note of which one turned the blue litmus red or the red litmus blue. So I had told them at least five substances you have to test, but they were so enthusiastic. Each one brought a big list, and so then they had to compare and see why all these substances have turned blue litmus red. What are their properties? Do they have something in common? How do they taste? So they came up with many properties of the acids and bases, and then the remaining I had to fill in and to explain. But it was a fun lesson. They said this homework was very interesting for them. So,
So thank you for sharing that. So, like what you said, two very interesting points stand out. One is the connection, like establishing the connection with what they know So they try out, and the pre-test where you ask them a question so it gets their brain muscle working and they are starting to think about the problem even before you've taught a single line. So that sounds really interesting. So what can you share some more examples of what you've done in the classroom, and
Yeah.
that can be helpful?
We have often played games in the class, and that is what interests the children most. And like for chemistry, we used to play Kembola. With each child was given a sheet with the mm, elements from the periodic table, and then instead of numbers, they had these symbols of elements, and we played Kembola with them. So there were prizes for full house and one line, etc. So the children were really happy to play that, and they were shrieking with delight in the class and wanted and were very happy when they got prizes. So that game was a great success. So what I do is all these games which they enjoy playing, but I use it for my teaching, adapt it to chemistry or mathematics, whatever I am doing, and so they relate to it very easily and then enjoy the process, and I think it stays with them longer if I
Thank
do
you.
that.
So I would definitely enjoy playing Kembola or a Tambola version or a bingo
Mm.
version for that matter. But that sounds super fun. So what you're talking about, I mean, is seems to be how you bring gamification into an ordinary subject and make it
Yeah,
super
that is
fun.
well expressed.
Yeah, for everyone. Thank you.
Yeah, then the next part of the lesson would be the actual lesson. Now, even that part has to be planned nicely, and children will not like to listen to a lecture for full 30-40 minutes. Their attention will wander after, say, 10 minutes maximum. So, here again, we have to think how to do the lesson. And what I do is make them come up with the answers. For example, I give them a worksheet. Once I did for algebra. I had finished teaching multiplication in algebra. I wanted them to come up with the formula a plus b whole square equal to whatever.
A square plus
So
2b, 2ab
a
plus b
square
square.
plus 2ab plus b square. I did not want to tell them that. So I gave them a worksheet with similar sums, and they had to solve it. After solving it, I told them, look at the question and look at the answers. Do you find any relationship? Hmm? See, look at all these answers, and you will come up with some formula so that you don't have to actually multiply. Without multiplying, you can arrive at the answer. So I tried that, and they came up with the answers, and it was a great success. That lesson was really interesting for them.
Yeah. So what you're talking about here is how you're helping build the thinking muscle.
For stability in physics. So they had to build something with newspapers, the tallest as possible, as tall as possible. So without saying anything what they are going to learn. So what they did was, then they found out that if they make the base bigger, then the thing is more stable. So things like this, which they can, through play, they can come up with, and we are not telling them. So that works better, I feel.
Thank you. So that is super interesting. You're using gamification, you're using play, you're using the connections that they already have in the real world. And like you said, nobody wants a boring 30-40 minute lecture which a teacher is going on nonstop. So these kind of activities, making things more smaller, bite-sized, so you can capture someone's attention for that 10 minutes of attention span which they have. So, some very interesting points that you've brought up here.
Another point which I want to make is there is inclusivity. A class is made up of many different types of learners. We have children who are dyslexic, children who are exceptionally bright and need some enrichment in activities or exercises, and the regular ones. So we should plan activities keeping everybody in mind, the visual learners, the auditory learners, as well as the ones who need to move about physically, and they learn by using their movement.
So, thank you so much for sharing all of these interesting insights on how you brought innovation into teaching. Now, what I'd like to do is I'd like to take the second half to basically talk about how some of these concepts are a great fit for AI. So if you look at some of these AI native platforms like Learn the Ropes, for example, which is an AI native learning platform, what these platforms basically do is they take AI's inherent capabilities and try and build some part of what you've been doing with your lesson. For example, the one of the great things that AI can do is in terms of help personalize things. So if a student is bored of the standard 30 to 40-minute lecture, what we can do is we can make it smaller, bite sized, more interesting. We can add visualization, we can add diagrams, we can even make it make audio clips for suiting, like, let's say, an auditory learner or a visual learner, or add experiments and fun, like you were talking about. Uh, Probably another area where AI performs well is in terms of the testing part of it, right? Like before you started the lesson, you gave a question for people to think about and come up with their own answers. So this is also another aspect where what AI can do is it can take any content and it can go ahead and generate a quiz or a pre-test, which will be a short set of questions. And using those questions, once you answer that, your brain automatically is starting to think, and your thinking muscle is building. And when you go through the content, then you're automatically you end up learning far better. And because you don't know anything about the answers initially, so you're thinking, how do I even solve this? And as you're listening to the content, you slowly start building that awareness. So these are few things that where I've seen that AI has an impact. And of course, AI cannot replace exceptional teachers like you. Yeah, we can take a page from your book and we
Yeah.
can try and implement some of these. So
So,
thank you so much for
I,
joining us on the show.
okay, thank you so much. It was fun being here.